What if the battlefield of the future isn't dominated by tanks or jets, but by swarms of buzzing drones? What if the real test of a superpower S-strength IS&T, how many missiles it can launch? But how many cheap UAVs that can stop before they slam into oil depots, air bases, or even capital cities? That is the reality of modern warfare. And in this strange new world, the age-old question returns. Who has the better shield, NATO or Russia? The story begins on the night of September 10th, 2025. Russia unleashed another massive wave of drones against Ukraine, hundreds of Shaheds flying low and slow across the dark skies. This time, something unexpected. At least 8 of those drones veered off course and crossed into Polish airspace. Within minutes, alarms screamed across NATO's eastern flank. Polish F-16s scrambled. Patriot missile batteries shifted to red alert. AWACS aircraft overhead relayed real-time tracking data. And then, history. The drones were shot down. For the first time since the war in Ukraine began, NATO had fired live weapons over its own territory. One swarm of drones, but the echo was felt across the whole of Europe. So what does this mean? And more importantly, what does it reveal about NATO's and Russia's very different approaches to air defense? Let's start with NATO, specifically Poland. Now, one of the alliance's most heavily armed. NATO's strategy is all about layers. At the outer edge sits the Patriot Pac-3, one of the most advanced missile defense systems ever built. This is the same system that proved itself in Ukraine by shooting down Kinzhal hypersonic missiles, an achievement many once thought impossible. Below that, NATO countries employ NASAMS, which uses AIM-120 MRAM missiles to swat targets at medium range. Closer still, Poland fields short-range systems like the Pilika Plus, with rapid-firing guns and Pyrun manpads that soldiers can shoulder-fire against drones. Add to this the power of AWACS and even stealthy F-35s feeding data into the network, and what you get is a highly integrated, highly intelligent defensive web. Of course, there's a catch. Missiles like the Pac-3 cost millions of dollars each. Shooting down a $20,000 Shahed drone with $1 million interceptor feels like bringing a Ferrari to run over a bicycle. It works, but your wallet cries a little. Each time, NATO's approach is extremely effective, but undeniably expensive. Now, let's cross to Russia. Here, the philosophy is different. The backbone of Russia's defense is also multi-layered. Anchored by the long-range S-400, supported by Buks M2 and Torum, 2 systems for medium threats, and rounded out by the famous Pantsirs S1 for close-in protection. The Pantsir combines rapid-fire cannons with small missiles, making it a go-to system for swatting drones. On paper, Russia even adds electronic warfare jamming GPS signals to throw off navigation. It sounds sophisticated. It looks dense. And yet, Ukraine's drones have made it through again and again. If Russia's air defense is as airtight as it claims, why do drones keep hitting oil depots in Moscow? The truth is that Russia's layered shield is good at protecting certain point targets, like an airbase or a single installation. But sprawling infrastructure across a vast country is another story. Time after time, Ukrainian drones have slipped through gaps, sometimes flying hundreds of kilometers to hit strategic sites inside Russia itself. The videos of fires raging in Moscow's oil facilities are proof enough. Even a dense shield can have holes. So here we have 2 philosophies. NATO leans on precision, networking, and expensive missiles. Russia leans on density, saturation, and cheaper interceptors like Pantsir. Which works better? The recent Polish incident gives us some clues. Within minutes of detection, NATO's network Patriot batteries, AWACS radar, fighter jets reacted seamlessly. The drones were eliminated. No fuss, no panic. It was a demonstration not just of firepower, but of coordination. Russia, meanwhile, has shown it can knock down plenty of drones. But the record of repeated Ukrainian penetrations shows inconsistency. It's like having a goalie who blocks most shots, but every once in a while, lets the ball roll right through his legs. Patriot interceptors may be expensive, but what price do you put on certainty? And then there's the economics. NATO critics argue that firing $1 million missiles at $20,000 drones is unsustainable. Russia's defenders boast that Pantsirs' smaller missiles and cannons are smarter solutions. But here's the irony. If Pantsir really is so cheap and effective, why are Moscow's skies still lit up by exploding drones? Maybe the truth is that cost matters but consistency matters more. A Ferrari might be an overkill to crush a bicycle, but if it actually works every time and the bicycle never reaches your garage, you sleep easier. Let's not forget the strategic picture. NATO's network stretches across allied nations, sharing data instantly between AWACS fighters and ground-based radars. This means a drone detected over Ukraine might already be tracked by sensors in Germany or even farther west. Russia's systems, though layered, often operate more independently, without the same seamless integration. It's the difference between a team passing the ball with perfect timing and a group of players all dribbling on their own. Now, to be fair, Russia's approach does have one advantage. It's cheaper for defending critical bases. The Pantsir is an efficient point defense solution. In fact, it's probably saved more Russian aircraft than we know. But as Ukraine has proven, it isn't enough to blanket an entire country, especially when your opponent keeps innovating with new drone tactics. So who holds the better shield? NATO's system is costly, but precise, effective, and globally integrated. Russia's is cheaper and denser, but less consistent, with cracks that drones have repeatedly exploited. In the short term, Russia can keep shooting down plenty of drones. In the long term, NATO's model expensive, though it maybe offers a reliability that Russia has yet to demonstrate. In modern warfare, the question isn't just how many drones you shoot down, it's how many make it through. And here's the payoff. The September 2025 shootdown over Poland showed the world something important. Even the most advanced alliance on Earth still has to fire million-dollar missiles at cheap drones. Even the most drone-saturated battlefield in history, Ukraine still sees billion-dollar defenses getting pierced. There is no perfect shield, but there are better shields. And right now, NATO's combination of integration, coordination, and proven interceptors remains the gold standard. Russia's air defense, for all its layers, has shown it can be punched through by drones that sometimes cost less than a family car. That doesn't mean it's worthless, it's still formidable, but it does raise uncomfortable questions. Is Russia a so-called dense defense really a net? Or just a patchwork with too many holes?